Alright, ladies and gentlemen, got a custom here in the making. And this custom is actually going to be a Christmas present. So this is going to be Red Devil. So what we got here, the body is a DC, dang it, I forgot this character's name.
A few moments later.
So this is Nightwing right here, and his head is chopped off here. Well, half of it is. The arms here are from a Marvel Black Panther figure, and so is this part of the head. And then we got these legs here from a Captain America Falcon. So what the idea here is to try to torso crack this guy open, put these arms on, then heat up the legs and put these legs on him, and then paint everything black and red. Oh, and also put this part of the Black Panther head on, because it looks a little bit similar to how I vision Red Devil. But the problem is the head sits back here because of the shape of the ball peg it was on. But I can easily use my Dremel to open up a little bit space in there so I could glue the head on. Simple fix. However, what's not so simple is cracking this torso open, because I tried to crack it open and it didn't want to split apart. The seams are already exposed, but it's not splitting up. But I think I just need to heat it up a little bit more so it could hopefully crack into two pieces so I could put the arms from Black Panther on this guy. One of the great perks of having a teapot. Can heat up water so you can use it to torso crack figures for customs. Okay, just use my X-Acto knife to do something here. So I cut off a little bit of the legs on here because the legs had some extra stuff, so they couldn't go in all the way like this, but now they can. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I got good news and bad news. Good news is I finally got Nightwing's arms popped off and got the Black Panther arms on. It took this guy, and a little bit of this guy just to get this guy to get split open and replaced with the arms. But the bad news is his arms are a little wobbly. And it's not just because this part split a little bit. Look. Alright, I'm squeezing it on as tight, and look, arms are still loose. So I guess I'm gonna have to move on to plan B, which I'm hoping I wasn't gonna have to resort to, because I wanted to make this guy a posable figure, but I guess I'm gonna just have to settle with making him just like some sort of a display model. But that's okay, because it's gonna look cool either way. First I'm gonna dip part of him back in the water, because I want to heat up and get these legs on. You see this? See that little blister right there? This is what I get for trying to make these awesome customs. But it's worth it. You, sir, are trouble. And I didn't mean to knock you down like that, so I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. I'll forgive you after I'm done, pal. Okay, good. Now you be a good boy and wait right there.
A few moments later.
Alright, here's what I got so far. Got the legs on, the arms on. I got the head glued on. It's kind of funny, but I'll fix it up. I'm gonna paint this staff red and black. So I glued the joints in place because he's not gonna be articulated anymore. He's just gonna be a posable figure. And here I made a little display base for him. Well, this came with a G.I. Joe figure, but now it's gonna be a display for this guy. Just need to wait for this clay to harden. I tried to make a throwing star for him, but I didn't wait for the clay to harden enough, and my impatient, stupid self decided to try to shave around it and break it. So now I'm gonna have to make another one. As for this guy, I think I'm gonna fill in the little gaps here, along with the gaps in the seam with some Sculpey to hide some of this stuff. Also use some Sculpey to fill in the head here. Maybe shave down the hair, because he's wearing a mask and you can't see the hair through his mask. And if you can see right here, there's a little gap on his nose, so I'm gonna fill that up. Alright, got some stuff filled in. got the hole in his back filled up, the little gaps in the arms, and start filling up the seam right here. Might work on that a little bit more. And still filling in the back of his head. So what I use to fill in these gaps is water weld. Works just as good as a Sculpey. And I also used one of these sculpting tools that my dad got me not too long ago. It's Make Market. If you want to know where I got these from, he got them from Hobby Lobby. I was gonna say Hobby Lobby, but that's not where they're from. They're from Michael's. But maybe any hobby store has these, so check any of your hobby stores. Alright, so far this figure's looking pretty good. I was originally going to film myself doing the whole painting stuff, but I didn't feel like doing that, so I'm just gonna show you what paints I used. Used a little bit of this coal paint, satin gold. Why did I say satin gold? It's satin coal. Then I used the Craft Smart Red for the arm pieces here. I painted them with this sort of crimson red. Gonna go over this guy with some black stuff to cover any black paint that might have been painted over by the red. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Red Devil is finally completed. And I just glued this piece on right here. Got all these other accessories. So there's a sword, that's supposed to be like a spray can bottle, a gun, a piece of cardboard. So these are like pieces that are scattered after he fought some criminals. I guess the ninja star can be from a ninja he fought. So the stand was from a G.I. Joe figure, and I painted it to look like it was a street, as you can tell by these little white marks here. And the bow staff was from a Mega Construx TMNT turtle. So majority of his armor, his belt, are done in the Craft Smart Red. And I was actually concerned that I was running out of the Craft Smart Red because it felt half empty. I actually got another one, let me get it real quick. Here's the other one I got in case this one's all gone. And the funny thing is both the bottles are different, but they're the same paint. And then the armor around his arms right here are done in the Crimson Red. And these parts right here and these little straps on his back are done in these Top Notch Red. And the shoulder pads here are done with the hang on, let me see. The Rio Red from Homefront. I've had this one for a very long time. And now that he's all complete, I can finally show him off to my brother-in-law.